The Ark of the Covenant was not a single relic of faith according to these two self-described modern Templar Knights, but it is one of many. What if, instead of just one sacred chest built to house the 10 Commandments, there were at least 10 Arks of the Covenant, and possibly as many as 100? And what if those Arks were not only holy artifacts, but powerful machines, capacitors capable of storing and discharging tremendous amounts of energy, forming the backbone of a lost global power grid? This is the extraordinary claim presented in the Gaia documentary series, Mysteries of the Knights Templar. The series features Timothy Hogan, who identifies himself as the Grandmaster of a modern Templar sect called the Templar Collegia, also known as the Order of the Temple of Secret Initiates, or OTSI. Alongside him is researcher and forensic geologist Scott Wolter, who holds the rank of Templar Knight in Hogan's order. Together, they argue that the Ark of the Covenant may not have been a one-of-a-kind relic, but one of many devices that served as nodes in a lost system of global power. The Bible describes the Ark of the Covenant in striking detail. In the book of Exodus, Moses is commanded to construct a chest of acacia wood, 2.5 cubits long, 1.5 cubits wide, and 1.5 cubits high. It is to be overlaid with pure gold, inside and out, and crowned with a molding of gold. 2 cherubim are to be placed on the cover, wings outstretched and facing each other, forming the mercy seat, the throne of God on earth. Inside are placed the stone tablets of the law, Aaron's staff, and a pot of manna. Religious tradition treats these details as symbolic. Gold symbolizes purity, acacia wood, incorruptibility, the cherubim, the guardians of heaven. But Hogan and Wolter note that the Ark's description is also highly functional. Gold is one of the best conductors of electricity. Acacia wood, dense and resinous, functions as a natural dielectric. A conductor on the outside, dielectric in the middle, and conductor inside is the exact design of a capacitor, a device that stores energy until released. Capacitors are essential to modern technology, but the Ark appears to follow the same principle thousands of years earlier. In this interpretation, the Ark was not only holy but technological. It could build up a charge and discharge it in a lethal burst. The Bible recounts episodes where the Ark's power struck people dead. In 2 Samuel 6, a man named Uzzah reached out to steady the Ark when the oxen pulling its cart stumbled. He died instantly. Scripture says it was the wrath of God. But in Hogan's interpretation, it could have been an electrical discharge. The man touched a charged capacitor and was killed by the energy stored within. Other passages tell of the Ark bringing plagues, toppling walls, and leading armies. To ancient minds, these were miracles. But to modern eyes, they resemble the effects of high-voltage energy released in the midst of battle. The Ark may have been remembered as a divine weapon not because of symbolism, but because of its physical effects. Tradition holds there was only one Ark, but evidence suggests otherwise. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church claims to possess the Ark in Axum, kept in the Church of Our Lady Mary of Zion, guarded by a single monk who never leaves its side. Yet Ethiopia also has hundreds of replicas called tabots, one in every church, representing the Ark. Some rabbinic texts hint that duplicates of sacred objects were made in antiquity. Ancient traditions sometimes mention secondary arks, decoys, or substitutes. Stories from southern Africa, the Middle East, and even parts of Europe recall deadly relics or chests emitting strange power. According to Hogan and Wolter in Mysteries of the Knights Templar, this is because there were not one but many Arks, at least 10, and possibly up to 100. Each Ark was a capacitor. Each was a power source. Together, they form the nodes of a vast system, a worldwide energy grid. Imagine the Ark as a capacitor. Imagine megalithic structures as receivers and transmitters. The Great Pyramid of Giza, lined with granite rich in quartz. Egyptian obelisks, metallic tips glinting in the sun. Stonehenge arranged in acoustic stone circles, the massive platform at Baalbek, precision-cut blocks heavier than anything needed for ritual. Each could have been part of a network. Tesla dreamed of broadcasting power wirelessly. His Wardenclyffe Tower was designed to draw energy from the earth and transmit it through resonance. Hogan and Wolter argue Tesla was not inventing, but rediscovering. The ancients had already achieved wireless power, using the Arks as capacitors to charge the system. 10 to 100 Arks would have been scattered across the world. They provided redundancy, like modern power stations. If one was destroyed, others kept the system alive. This may explain the scattered traditions: Ethiopia, Jerusalem, Babylon, France, Scotland, Ireland. Each region may have housed one Ark. Where do the Knights Templar fit into this theory? Hogan, as Grandmaster of the Templar Collegia, explains that his order claims direct descent from the medieval Templars. Suppressed in 1307, their leaders arrested and Grandmaster Jacques de Molay burned at the stake in 1314. The Templars' official history ended, but Hogan's sect insists their lineage survived in secret. The Templars had been headquartered on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, where Solomon's Temple once stood. Chronicles say they excavated tunnels beneath it. Mainstream historians speculate they sought treasure or documents. Hogan and Wolter suggest they found something greater, possibly one of the Arks of the Covenant itself. The Templars grew suddenly rich and powerful. Some believe their banking system explains this, but Hogan and Wolter argue that possession of an Ark would explain their meteoric rise. The Templars became not just warriors, but custodians of ancient technology. When the order was suppressed, their treasures vanished. Hogan's order claims that the Arks were divided, scattered, and preserved by branches of the Templars. Timothy Hogan is a lecturer, author, and Grandmaster of the Templar Collegia, also known as the Order of the Temple of Secret Initiates. His sect claims to be a surviving continuation of the medieval Templars, carrying forward their mission in secret. Unlike modern Neo-Templar fraternities, Hogan presents his order as the inheritor of authentic Templar knowledge, focused on esoteric, spiritual, and technological truths. Scott Wolter, known for his work on America Unearthed and his background as a forensic geologist, is a knight in Hogan's order. On Gaia, Wolter describes being formally knighted into the Templar Collegia. Together, Hogan as Grandmaster and Wolter as Knight present their theories about the Ark, multiple Arks, and a lost global energy grid. While the multiple Ark theory is the centerpiece, Hogan and Wolter make other fascinating claims. They suggest John the Baptist, Jesus, and Mary Magdalene were connected in ways the Church suppressed. Mary Magdalene, in their telling, was not only a disciple, but a bearer of a sacred bloodline, one the Templars vowed to protect. They reference the sons of Dan, a biblical tribe, who fought battles described in the lost book of the Wars of the Lord. Mentioned in Numbers 21:14, this book is absent from the Bible. Hogan and Wolter suggest its missing passages described phenomena that resemble modern UFO sightings, lights and craft in the sky intervening in battles. They also touch on Atlantis, arguing it was not a myth but a real civilization. Atlantis, they say, may have been powered by the same Ark grid system. Its destruction was not random, but the collapse of a world-spanning power network. The myths of a golden age ended by catastrophe could reflect the failure of the Ark system. If Hogan and Wolter are right, history changes dramatically. The Ark was not one relic, but many. 10 to 100 capacitors stored and released energy. Megaliths and monuments were not ceremonial, but functional. Atlantis was real. The Templars were not simply knights and bankers, but inheritors of lost technology. Why did it end? Perhaps it was too dangerous. Perhaps the conditions that powered the system, magnetic fields, cosmic alignments, changed. Or perhaps it was suppressed by guardians who believed humanity was not ready. Hogan's order claims to be among those guardians, preserving fragments of the knowledge in secret. The Ark of the Covenant has always been seen as the throne of God on earth, the dwelling place of holiness. But Hogan and Wolter suggest it was also the throne of knowledge, a device that merged the spiritual with the technological. If there were 10 or even 100 Arks, then it was not only a relic, but a system, a network, a global grid. The question remains, were the Arks divine relics, advanced machines, or both? Were they symbols of faith, or the last remnants of a world once powered by free broadcast energy? And if some survive, hidden by guardians, what would it mean if they were revealed? To say that it would shake things up would be a gross understatement. But free, clean energy is something the world desperately needs. Follow HAlt videos for more hidden history and ancient mysteries.